Watt situation in Pittsburgh. How about this one? Another star, Terry McLaurin, will not be attending Commanders' mandatory minicamp. Scary Terry has asked for a new deal. There has been minimal progress made on it. Quietly, McLaurin is a top 10 receiver in the league. And in the last 5 years,
love him.
You could argue, he's one of the 5 best receivers. Look at this. Last 5 seasons, only 4 guys have done this. 1,000 yards. Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Mike Evans.
He reminds me a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't get any ego. I just get yards, catches, big third down production. I love Terry McLaurin. It's an ego position, and he and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I get all the production without the ego. So it's going to be hard for me not to defend him. He's a guy I would pay. I think he's unbelievable talent. You get no drama. Big third down, fourth down guy. And I also think it really does matter when you bring in a young quarterback that he's got. Remember when Dak Prescott came into the league and they had Dez Bryant? And Dez was talented, but he was so much drama. It is so valuable when you bring in a young quarterback that you have a grown-up as one of his lead targets, like an adult, and you don't have a high-maintenance receiver. And so to me, I mean, if you could have picked a wide receiver for Jaden Daniels to be connected with his first year in the pros, you would pick like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Terry McLaurin. Larry Fitzgerald had this. You get all the maturity and all the production without any of the drama. So I think I would do whatever I have to do to pay him. Because, by the way, Debo, you'll get drama.
Well, let's settle down on the drama. So 2 things, right? Number 1, quarterback on the rookie deal. Pay your guy, right? Shouldn't be a difficult problem. But McLaurin turns 30 in September, and we know basically very few positions age well in the NFL. Wide receiver, not one of them. You don't have to give him a huge deal. Just front load it because Jaden's on the rookie deal. I don't understand. What am I missing here, Colin?
I don't think, they spent some money in free agency. I think it's all posturing. There's no way in the world they're letting him out of the door. There's just absolutely no way. So, and, they're going to have to gobble up Debo's contract and McLaurin, so they want to get the best deal possible. But I don't think anybody in Washington doubts his value. It is hard. If I said to you, great wide receiver with no drama, there's not a lot of Puka Nakuas out there. Most top receivers in this league, you're like, okay, you're getting some. I love Devontae Adams, but it gets noisy. So, Green Bay drafted another wide receiver. Why? They don't trust the guys in the room. To get high production and no drama at wide receiver is kind of rare. DK Metcalf, George Pickens. I'm just saying it's a position that historically you get noise and drama with. McLaurin gives you none of that.
It's funny. You mentioned Devontae Adams, and I think of him as like a choir boy superstar. He's on like his 4th team in 5 or 6 years, right? Not great.
Yeah. Listen, when you have a great player like a Terry McLaurin and someone who is high class and great, personality, leader, soldier for the team, you just pay those guys. And even if those contracts don't age perfectly, you kind of deal with it later. And unless Terry McLaurin's asking for something that is so unreasonable, and that's what always makes it hard. For all we know, he wants $100 million a year, right? Obviously not, but we really have no idea. And so I don't know necessarily what the hang up is. Is it guaranteed money? Is it length of time? I got no idea. I haven't heard any reports on exactly where they're not at right now. But this is something that you do just want to not be the case right now, because the Commanders have a real chance to make a serious run, and all of these little things do fester a little bit. They really do. They also do just rub players the wrong way. And players are human, man. Even if the deal ends up getting done and they start saying the things like, oh, I'm excited to be a Commander for life. I'm so happy that, we got the deal done and now it's time to get to work. Depending on how the process really unfolds, there's still that bitterness. And that does chip away a little bit at your resilience and your love for the team. No matter who you are, no matter how high class you are. It still starts to eat at you a little bit. You're just kind of like, it didn't sit right with me. And Terry McLaurin has endured a lot of nonsense with the Commanders over the years. That's just a fact. And some of the receivers off the top of my head, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, kind of driving me a little nuts there, but we'll let it be. as well as like a Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin. I mean, like it is rare that you have receivers that not only don't cause like drama, but also on the field, their personalities fit the flow of a game and nothing gets taken away from it. There's nothing over the top. It really is just about getting the work done. And even when there was like a little bit slow, a slowish start with the relationship and the connection between Jaden and Terry McLaurin, like it was still all peace, man. It was still all peace. And I think that's great. And I think Justin Jefferson is a monster, and any team in the history of the NFL would be grateful to have Justin Jefferson. But there was like a moment, a couple moments when they lost. I think it was the one time against the Rams. I forget what game it was. It was a handful of games. And you could just see the bitterness and the anger in Justin Jefferson. And on one side, you could be like, that's fire. Great. They're going to get to work for next week and all of that. But like sometimes that can fester. Sometimes that can be a little bit toxic. Sometimes that can impact the locker room. Sometimes in a game like that, you don't need to fester. You need to just bounce back. Like it needs to just be like, guys, we're going to watch film. We're going to look over this. We're just moving on, man. We're going to learn our lessons and then we're moving on. Whereas other people bring that energy where it's just like, you just brings everything else down. And this is not that type of team. And so having a receiver like a Terry McLaurin, I feel as though, especially the type of quarterback that Jaden Daniels is, and the type of coach that Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn are, these are the types of personalities that you want. So it's just like, pay them, take care of them. Yeah, he's getting older. He's 30 or whatever. And so maybe by 33, 34, whatever, whatever the deal ends up being, yeah, he's probably not going to be the same guy, but it's still great to have. And then when you go and draft a wide receiver, or you make however you acquire maybe another wide receiver, it's like, he's a type of guy that you want to bring into the fold. Not necessarily like a mentor, because that's not necessarily how it works with wide receivers necessarily, but it's still just another positive personality to interact with. It's still someone that's creating a foundation within the culture. And whether you recognize it or not, you are in the process. I just talked about this with the Packers, but especially with the Commanders, considering it's only year 2 with the coach and quarterback trio. Like, you are building this culture. What is the culture? And you already brought in a couple new voices in there, like Debo and whatnot, and you don't have your culture solidified just yet. Terry McLaurin is part of that core that is going to put the stamp of like, this is the culture. I promise you, Debo's going to feel like a rental. Debo is going to feel like an outsider kind of playing cosplay in a Commander's uniform. Like, that's how it works. And everyone's going to recognize it. Even Debo is going to feel it. He's going to look in the mirror wearing his uniform and be like, this feels weird. I don't really feel like I'm a Commander. Because he's not going to be a Commander for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Jaden Daniels is. Terry McLaurin is and was. So it's just, take care of the guys at home. Now, I wish, and I've said this before with all of these contract disputes, especially for the guys that I really highly respect, I wish they would still show up, just do nothing essentially, and just be like, man, I'm here to put in the work. I'm excited to win. I want to hear everything that we need to hear, continue to, talk with everyone, still let everyone know good vibes all around. Yeah, I just got to figure out the money situation, but like, whatever. And like, that's it. And just like leave it at that. Like that's how I would handle it. And just prove to them how great of a person you are. And that is my personal approach, but I understand in the NFL, at the heart of it is all business. And like I keep saying, it's so hard to know really what the conversations are right now, what they're trying to get Terry McLaurin to agree to, and what Terry McLaurin is trying to get them to agree to. So it's just, it's always a somewhat weird situation, but, yeah, man, he's more valuable than I think the average person realizes because of who the Commanders were for years. And when you see, the stats don't do it justice. When you say, 1,000 yards and all that type of stuff, that's great. But like when you see some of the type of catches that Terry McLaurin is out there getting, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the reality is, the way how it typically works for quarterbacks, like, you pretty much win now or just get very, very difficult to win later. Like, we've seen that historically over the years and years and years, that these quarterbacks, they either win within their first like 4 or 5 years or so, or they really, really hard. And of course they can get it. And especially if you're truly a special and world-class quarterback, who I believe Jaden Daniels is, your chances of getting there and winning is still obviously possible. And, we can have endless examples of that. But it is, for the most part, not even just because of the rookie deal, but just because of health and energy and all this other stuff, like winning is a lot easier in the beginning. And this is the heart of it right now. You jump started that. You have this. I mean, just even look at Patrick Mahomes. It was a lot easier for him to be wheeling and dealing from 2018 to like 22, and then now these last couple of years, it's been like, they're really just eking on by and trying their best, and that's with Andy and Mahomes. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson still can't get there. Joe Burrow can't get back there. I mean, quite frankly, none of these teams can, except for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's like you got it now. You got the squad now. Jaden Daniels will sign a record, breaking deal. I mean, how could he not? So it's just like you got the maturity, you got the core, you got the talent. In a weird way, it's kind of like all in. Like, this is one of those weird situations where you're kind of like, this year and next year might be our best chance. If we're looking at it on like a 6, 7, 8 year horizon, you can make the argument that these next couple of years are the best chances to win a Super Bowl. To be clear, it's not to say that they don't have great chances to continue to win over the next 6, 7, 8 years, or that won't completely change because you nail a handful of draft picks and whatnot. But it just like the safer bet would be right now is like this is our chance, and so you just want all this stuff to go smoothly. You don't want any hiccups. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders and the Terry McLaurin situation? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.